Where do you go to find out about the future? I was working recently with the leadership team of an organization that's doing their 3-day strategic retreat and planning for the next 3 to 5 years. And they engaged me and asked me to come in and spend the first half day with them to get them to think a bit bigger, to understand about some of the external pressures on their organization and their industry, so that when they did their strategic planning, they'd be able to do it in this broader context. This is really good. I love working with teams like this. It's working with a small group. They're all motivated, they're all excited, and they're doing their planning. They're playing a very important role for the future of the organization. One of the activities that I do right at the start of this kind of session is one that's a little bit different. Sometimes it takes people by surprise, and I call it first job. And so get people to say, what was your first job? What was your very first paid job? Probably when you were at school, or maybe soon after you left school. And sometimes people say, I was a babysitter, or I was working at checkout at a supermarket, or I was packing boxes in a warehouse. Then I ask them to think about the skills and the things they learned from that first job. And then I pair them up. And I say, well, you've got two people, one of them talk about a current issue or a problem or a challenge that you're happening in your current job right now. And then the other person says, well, you know what? Something I learned from my very first job that could help you is this. Okay, and then they share, and then they swap. And it's a really fun exercise. It gets people laughing, gets people thinking creatively, and people always get good ideas from that, really practical ideas from just talking to people and hearing about their experience from their first job. But at the end of the exercise, I always ask the group, why do you think I did this exercise? Why do you think we did this activity right now? And people give me a range of answers. They say it's a nice icebreaker, which is true. It gets them thinking creatively, which is true. It gets them thinking, realizing that they've got skills that they may not have used for a long time, but could still be relevant. That's true. And then the CEO said, she said, one of the things I learned from this exercise is that I could be talking to anybody in the organization and they could have something valuable that I could use. And that's exactly right. That's exactly the reason. All the other reasons are valid. That's the main reason that I do this activity. Because often when people are looking at what's coming up in the future, they're looking outside. So they might engage a futurist, or they're looking at external pressures, or they do some customer surveys, and all of those are good things. But sometimes the most valuable insights you get will be from people within your organization. And this is part of the value of having a diverse workforce. And it's diverse in a number of ways, especially with different generations, different ages, because everybody in your organization brings their own experience. They bring their own expertise. They bring their own insights, and actually, most importantly of all, they bring their own perspective. And all of those things are things that could be valuable for you in understanding the future. So when you're looking at the future, don't only go external, also look internally at the people you've got in your teams and throughout your organization. It's part of the skill of sense making, understanding the world and then being able to operate in it. I'm doing an online presentation very soon, in a few days, about this. And it's free, it's public, it's open to everybody. So please come along. I'm sure you'll get value from it. And because it's free, please feel free to invite others in your team and your network as well. I'll see you in the future.